going awesome.
Awesome.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Okay, so my first question is for you, Gia. How do you explain this film to people that aren't yet familiar with it?
I guess I would say it's a bachelorette party gone wrong. Like a fun bachelorette party that just really is like wrong place at wrong time scenario.
To
Yeah,
which
Really
they
wrong.
reply, "Oh, so it's like a comedy?"
yeah. It's like girls' night.
No.
Yeah. No, not
Girls night.
So Travis, what did she miss? Like, what else is going on in this movie?
What I've been summing up in my head, because I anticipated being asked this very question. I should have taken notes because I forgot what I was going to say. It's a oh, God. Hold on.
Take it in.
Not too much time. I'm running out of time. It's about I don't know, the choices people make against insurmountable odds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is kind of universal to in that degree, you know.
Definitely. So, are you guys familiar with the home invasion subgenre of horror, like with movies like, The Strangers or Funny Games? And did you watch any of them to prepare for this role? Gia, maybe I'll start with you.
I don't like horror movies. I'll put it out there.
Okay.
I get too scared. But I will say that I love the movie Hush. And I think that Kate Siegel and Mike Flanagan are fabulous collaborators. But that movie just got under my skin, and it was scary, but also my mind was just still thinking about it days afterwards. And so in a way, I'm not super familiar with the home invasion because I don't want to go there for pleasure. But that movie was so, I felt inspired, but also freaked out. And
Yeah,
there's
that's a great
something
one.
really powerful, about that film.
Definitely. Travis, how about you? Did you watch any home invasion horror to prepare?
No, and as you can probably guess from my face, I had no idea that was a subgenre.
Oh, yes, actually, a very popular one. And personally, I find it to be maybe the scariest.
Well, yeah. I mean, because now look, I'm like, yeah, sure. When people like come into your, like, yeah, that's
Travis is scared
creepy.
right now, Josh. He's
He
scared.
looks it.
He's scared
I
right
mean,
now.
I am too. Okay, so I mean, it might seem obvious, but why do you think this kind of thing scares people so much? What makes us resonate with the home invasion horror subgenre?
Well, there's something. I mean, the as an expert on the topic of the home invasion subgenre, when you take something that is familiar and then twist it, you're able to lure the audience in. Probably speaking as an expert on the home invasion subgenre, Paranormal Activity might be the greatest home invasion subgenre, even though it is invasion by a ghost. But that intimacy of, it's just a little baby cam. This is just as it is. This is normal. Everything's fine. And as an audience, you think, yeah, this is great. I want to live in that nice house and have a little baby and then play with a Ouija board on Saturday. No, don't do that, because then crazy shit happens.
Do you think it makes it believable? Do you think it makes it more real?
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely more real than Mission Impossible, because like, where are you right now? You're in your home. You're not like on a motorcycle jumping off a cliff.
Not yet. No.
Yeah, the violation of a home invasion feels just that much more terrifying. It's that much more close. What I will say is that I collaborate with Neil LaBute, who wrote and directed the film a lot. We also happen to be married. And I had a couple of years ago, I went out to a bachelorette party across the country in California, and we had an incident happen at the bachelorette party that was dangerous. And nothing to this extent, but I came home and I was telling Neil like all the stuff that had happened and how terrified we were. as women isolated on this at this property. And his first reaction wasn't, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Let me take care of you." His first reaction was, "That would be such a good movie."
Wait, tell me again. Start at the beginning. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of, I mean, being able to take, a scenario that could happen and then kind of expand and use your imagination. Well, how bad could it get?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of that, how do people band together to try to figure out the problem? Like, let's show the best side of how we are as human beings and how we come together and how we solve things and survive.
Well, that leads me to my next question. I love your character in the film, Gia, and her superpower is like track and field and running.
Yeah.
And that was really sort of cool to see in action. If you both were in a situation like this, what would be your superpower? Like, what skills do you have deep inside you that might help you survive?
I mean, I don't know. I always have a Leatherman on me. One of these little things. Yeah.
Hey, that helps.
Yeah. I'll
Okay,
poke you,
so
man.
a weapon's good. Yeah.
I'm a mom. I have a 3.5-year-old. So, I
Mom
know
strength.
what it's like to see a mean kid on the playground, and I feel that rage inside of me. And I think I could tap in there and really, let loose in a very terrifying way. So being a mom, that's my superpower.
I love that. I got the sense from watching this film that it might have been like a challenge to shoot. I'm wondering, what was this shoot like emotionally and physically? Like, was it easy breezy or was it a rough ride?
What do you think, Josh? You think it was easy breezy?
It looked
What,
tough as hell.
3 weeks of night shoots in the desert?
tough.
Easy breezy. I had to start riding my motorcycle to set because I knew that when you wrap at 5 a.m. and it's an hour home and it's still dark out, but you're sitting in rush hour traffic, I was like, I'm gonna fall the fuck asleep driving home. Let me get on my motorcycle so I can sort of be wired because people are gonna be trying to kill me and stuff.
Yeah, I think that was the toughest part. Is we shot in the zone about an hour outside of LA in the mountains and in the desert. And not only was the extremities of the weather, I'm a New York actor, but coming to LA, I was like, oh, this is going to be warm and fabulous. But no, it was like freezing, and we're all wearing our UGG boots and our warming coats. But you have to keep that tension up all night long, 12 hours, 7 to 7. And then everybody has to go home. And there's that, you're driving with the traffic into LA. I mean, that was probably the most terrifying part.
Okay.
It was, I mean, night shoots are always just really hard.
How do you prepare for that? How do you prepare for a night shoot? Like, do you try to change your sleeping patterns ahead of time, or do you just have to go in?
I do, yeah. I'll try to, just sleep in, take naps, etc., before sort of it's game time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you were saying that this is sort of based a little bit on like a real life experience. Have you guys ever had the experience of like a break-in or anything like that? And
I have.
how did that affect you?
It was very confusing because I remember I was in my kitchen right there and I was hearing sort of a banging noise and I was thinking, man, those upstairs neighbors sure are loud. And then I just walked into my bathroom and I saw a little head pop down from my window. And I thought,
No.
did an upstairs neighbor fall down?
Oh
So then I went outside and there was some guy on the side of the building. I was like, hey, did you fall from the above window? And he was like, no, and he ran away. And I thought, someone must have fallen from the above window. So I went upstairs. Did you fall? Did someone from your apartment fall down? And then I went back and I was like, oh, he was trying to break into my apartment. And then I went and got in my car and went looking for the fucker.
Afterwards, did you feel freaked out, or were you just pissed, or like, what was your emotional response to it? I would be so fucking scared. I would be awake for the next 3 nights.
No, I mean, I thought it was just weird because it was like, I don't know, noon. And I thought, yeah, I
It's
guess most
bad
people,
planning. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Gia, what about in New York? I mean, I live in Toronto downtown, and I've had some pretty bizarre experiences, but New York is a whole other world. Have you
New
ever had
York,
anything like that?
it can be. It sure can be. You know, I have had some kind of traumatic violating experiences. Nothing like a break-in, but certainly you see the ability of people to just do wild and crazy shit and really have no problem with it out in the open, and that it leaves scars on you. I mean, thank God for therapy, right?
Yeah, big time. You did another really dark movie last year, House of Darkness, which honestly I was a big fan of, and it made my end of year list. I was wondering, like, what was that like compared to this? Like, how did these two experiences sort of stack up against each other?
Um, I mean, completely different. That was the first House of Darkness we shot in March of 2021, and it was the first thing I did coming out of COVID. And I had a little baby at home, and again, it was a night shoot, and that movie deals with male female power dynamics, but it's a much more intimate, much more, I think kind of traditional horror haunting.
Mhm.
I'm looking for the word, but without giving it away. It was really fun, but it was also just like a terrifying experience. I think that doing this film, which we shot in the spring of 2022, having that, I have to say, having that huge group of women on set, I mean, it was so much fun. I felt like I was at camp with friends. I mean, we made good friendships, and a lot of the people a lot of the women were New York actors that we know, and I just had such a blast doing this movie. Completely different from that kind of first post-COVID, totally stressed out. Am I going to get sick? All
Mhm.
those fears that kick in. So very different experience on those films.
You've both now played a villain in a Neil LaBute film. How do you prepare for that? How do you prepare for the role of the villain, Travis?
Just think dark thoughts. I listen to the soundtrack to The Crow.
It's a good soundtrack.
It's fantastic.
The sequel has a good soundtrack too.
It does. It does. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Putting it on Spotify
Oh
now.
yes, it was a City of Angels. That's my preference actually. So
Wait, the soundtrack or the
yeah, the
movie?
soundtrack. Oh no, not the movie. The
Okay, all
soundtrack.
right. Yeah.
I
It's
don't
about
hate
half
you.
and it's about half and half. I've got a specific playlist that I made for not this, but something also bad guy-ish, and it's like, you get just tapped into the emotional, imaginative world of something dark-esque.
I live for a playlist. Would it be possible to bring it up? I'm very curious what might be lurking on it.
I mean,
Oh, I made a playlist for
Yes, I'm
I
dying
did.
to
I made a
know.
playlist for Mia, and honestly, there's a lot of Stevie Nicks.
Oh, sweet. I see that.
Yeah, there's a lot of Stevie
Uh,
Nicks going on, but also there's some national, there's some Taylor Swift.
nice.
Uh,
Which Taylor Swift? I have to know.
oh gosh, you know what? Let me go look on
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you exactly.
I'm a playlist freak. I'll make a playlist for any situation or project in my
I do
life.
it for every character. Do you do it, Travis, for every character? Do you make playlists?
no, no, no. There was something recently when I had to think a lot of sad thoughts.
Oh
And I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, okay, well, let's get Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You." Let's get the soundtrack to Amelie. That'll get me tearing up. Celine Dion's "Whatever My Heart Will Go On."
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, there is something, obviously,
No, it's
like
fine.
something's powerful about music.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, because it also just connects you to whatever larger imaginative realms are sort of tied, like, a giant. The music is the little handle worth of strings, but then it connects to all of the giant balloons
So true.
at the top that you're still sort of connected to.
Here's my little playlist. You see,
Oh,
Mia
amazing!
playlist.
I see it. Yes.
Yeah, we got.
I see Phoebe on that. Did I see Phoebe?
Yeah, Phoebe Bridgers. Yep, for sure.
Sure.
We got Harry Styles. We have Drake. We have Haim. We have Maggie Rogers. We have Foo Fighters. I mean, all my life that song as I'm running, I would just hear that song as I was running.
Are you really, like, can you run, or was this movie magic?
I can run. I mean, I'm not like a runner. I mean, I have a treadmill. But I did. we didn't have stunt people, and I did fall and hurt myself. And I have a beautiful scar running up against my knee because I really committed. But
running on a treadmill is different. It's a whole other beast.
Down roads.
I did a movie once where I knew I had this running thing, and I was like, cool. I'm gonna prep on the treadmill, and then like on the day they're like, you go 50 yards that way and then run in this and I was just like, why is this so different? I've been on a treadmill.
We're doing indie movies, and so they're like, you're running in Alphonse's shoes, so you got to run in his shoes. Well, Keelan has like size 14 feet, so I've got these gigantic shoes on.
Oh no, the clown shoe.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that you're maybe not both the biggest horror fans in the world, but I have to ask, when you were growing up, was there ever a movie, horror or otherwise, that like really messed with you? That like traumatized you as a kid? And why?
Yes.
Okay, what?
Free Willy.
Oh my God.
Free Willy really did traumatize me. That's not okay. So I remember going into Blockbuster, and I kind of wanted to watch like R-rated movies so badly. Yeah. And I convinced my parents to let me get Silver Bullet.
Ooh, that's a scary one.
Corey Haim?
Messed me up, man, for nights. It's like a werewolf.
It's a Stephen King one, yeah. It might be
Stephen King.
Terrifying. Yeah.
That's a crazy one. I actually saw that for the first time recently, and it was still bonkers. So that'll do it for sure. Why Free Willy? I'm sorry. What happened there?
Free Willy. Oh, I can't. Anybody hurting animals, it really scares the shit out of me.
That's fair. Absolutely.
I remember seeing the Blair Witch Project.
Oof.
It was like sort of at an advanced screening, so that all I had known prior to that was, and this is in like 1998 or 99.
Yeah.
Just like, there's like, oh no, there's this movie and I think it's real. And it's like, oh, okay. So you hadn't gotten all like the press about whatever. And I think I'd gone and seen, I was like, even at 17, I was like, I will never go to the woods again. Simple.
I still think that that's one of the scariest movies ever made.
Totally.
Yeah.
What's your answer, Josh? What's your answer?
You know what's funny? I've interviewed Neil LaBute once before, and I asked him this, and he asked me back, and it's a Neil LaBute movie, weirdly enough. It's Nurse Betty, because there's a fucking scalping.
Yeah,
there's a fucking scalping.
I know.
I can't watch anything with a scalp.
I've still never seen it.
Don't watch it.
I can't watch it.
It lives rent-free in my brain, and anytime there's a scalping in a movie now, I get so upset, and people have to tell me about it ahead of time. There's one in the new Evil Dead, just in case anyone needs to know. So that fucking movie. Yeah. So avoid that. Anyway, congrats on the film. It's so good. And I'm excited to tell more people about it.
Thanks, dude.
Awesome. Okay, have a great rest of your day.
Take good care.
Bye, guys.